Okay, hi. I'm Scoot. I just jumped over here from my Scoot on the Air Instagram account. Had to make a few little switches here. Welcome to Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. I appreciate you being with me here. I hope you have become a subscriber. If not, please subscribe. We're just building this, and I've been talking to you about that. We're building this. We have a few little set pieces that are being designed right now, and so we'll turn this into a little bit of a set, and this is really an extension of my radio show on WWL. I want to mention that you can go to my website now. This is a plain coffee mug. I'm drinking tea out of it. See, there's nothing on it. You can get the official SOTA Scoot on the Air coffee mug by going to my website, Scoot on the Air. And there's a new political thought there every day on the Facebook page. I'm sorry, on the website. And I picked out this coffee mug because it's the kind of mug that I like, and it's got the official Scoot on the Air logo on it. And we are taking 100% of the profits. 100% of the profits are going to a charity. And for everyone that's been ordered so far, we'll take the profits from those and donate to a charity. Haven't figured out the charity yet, but that's coming in the next day or so. We'll figure that out. But I think it's going to be something related to what we're going through now, this COVID thing. Anyway, as I said on my radio show today at WWL, I wanted to continue this conversation. Oh, here is Cajun Queen Fitness, who says, I got my mug. Thank you for ordering that, Cajun. And you, Cajun Queen Fitness, you are helping out a charity, and I hope you enjoy sipping out of the official SOTA Scoot in the Air coffee mug. Hey, we're going to do T-shirts. We've got other merchandise coming. We're just building this. And see, think how cool this is. You're in on the ground floor. This is the very beginning of this. If this ever someday got to be big, you could go, man, I was there. I was one of the first ones to discover that. It'd be kind of like the people when I lived in Seattle. It's kind of like somebody, I'd be sitting in a dive bar having a conversation with somebody, and they'll say something like, yeah, I remember when Kurt Cobain and Nirvana used to play here before they got big, when they were just getting started. I'm thinking, wow, man, that would be so cool. Well, this is not that big, but you would be in on the ground floor. You were there when it started. You helped us get this whole thing started. So it's Scoot on the Air, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And I'm trying to shift a lot from Facebook over to Instagram and here on YouTube. Okay, so today we were talking about the liberal media. And a caller called into my show today, and he was complaining about the liberal media and the fear that he has of the liberal media. And I pointed out, it's not just the liberal media anymore. There's the conservative media now, too. And by the way, the liberal media is nothing new. There was talk of the liberal media when Ronald Reagan won the election in 1980. Because, I've researched this, the type of person, especially now, it's changed now because it's such a big business. But the reason that the media was more liberal than conservative is because the type of person that got into the newspaper business, the type of person that got into journalism, tended to be more liberal than conservative. People who were more conservative tended to get into a different kind of business. So that's where the image of the liberal media comes from, historically. Now, it's changed a lot because the media's become so lucrative. And since, I guess, the late 80s, the late 80s is when there started to be this shift toward conservative media. Fox News is the #1 cable news network out of the three. Fox News is #1. Fox News is bigger than NBC, MSNBC, and CNN combined. I mean, they're kind of close, but you put CNN and MSNBC together, and they're close to Fox. Sometimes they beat Fox. But Fox is a dominant number one. It's conservative, very conservative. There's Limbaugh and Hannity, and there are all these syndicated talk show hosts that are conservative. There are all these local talk show hosts that are imitating the conservative talk show host, parroting what they're doing on the air. So there is a strong presence of the conservative media. So it's time for this group to stop acting like a snowflake and start realizing that you're not the victim, that there's a lot of conservative media out there, and there really is more of a balance between the conservative media and the liberal media. I realize that if you watch the evening news on NBC, ABC, or CBS, you're going to find news that's a little bit slanted. Not nearly as much. It's much more objective than the cable news channels. And by the way, the cable news channels, Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN, it's not really the news. They talk about the news, but it's opinion-driven entertainment television based on the news. And this is part of this episode of The Truth Behind the Microphone that we do Wednesday and Saturday nights that I'd like to share with you. Because one of the scariest things to me is not the people who watch Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. It's not scary that they're biased, that the networks are biased. What is most scary to me, and this came up on my show today as well, most scary to me is the people who watch and don't realize they're watching biased media. There are those who watch Fox News who think Fox News is the only one that tells the truth. Wrong. People who watch CNN, MSNBC, they're the only ones that tell the truth. Wrong. All three pander to you, the audience. Whichever one you watch, they're pandering to you. And it was so rewarding because I talk about this so much. And in my studying of mass communication and the relationship between media and society, I talk about this so much on the air. And a guy called the show today and he said exactly what I've been saying. And it was so reassuring to hear this. He and his mother were talking about this, that the media puts on what gets your attention. That's what they do. If they think it will get your attention, guess what? They're putting it on. And guess what? You watch it, you pay attention. So it's all based on the concept of entertainment. It doesn't mean it's all fun and ha-ha, laughing and entertainment, but it's all entertainment. DJ Wick says, sparkle. Yeah, it is. A lot of it's sparkle. Elizabeth says, conservative media deliberately hides the facts and the truth. I'm sorry, that was from Shatney. Shatney, you're right. Elizabeth says, all media has its own objective. Yes, it's not objective. It has its own objective. And that is to attract an audience. Because look, think about it in these simple terms. If the goal of a cable news network, for example, if a goal of a cable news network is to attract the biggest possible audience for ratings and for revenue, then it is going to be governed by the same principles that govern any form of entertainment. And think about the stories that get the most attention, that get most attention from us. The stories that involve sex, the stories that involve human conflict, the stories that are compelling because of human drama, the stories about bad people, about redemption, about getting what's coming to you, about punishment. These are all elements that are in any good form of entertainment. So why the hell you think the news is any different? Just keep all this in mind when you consume the media and know that it's not objective. Don't expect it to be. You don't be a victim saying, "Oh, what am I going to do?" You know, there's the liberal media's out there. What the hell are you? Why are you afraid of the liberal media? In the world of fearing the liberal media, Ronald Reagan was elected, George H. Walker Bush was elected, George W. Bush was elected, and Donald Trump was elected. If the liberal media was something that you so feared because you were afraid of its influence, how did those 4 presidents get to be elected? Explain it. And if you're afraid of the conservative media, if you're afraid of the poisonous rhetoric of Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and the Fox News channel, how did Bill Clinton get to be president? How did Barack Obama win the election and re-election? How did that happen? So the conservative media couldn't stop that. Man, Rush Limbaugh and Hannity and Fox News said negative things about President Obama and candidate Barack Obama every single day, all day. They thought it was the end of the world. I remember even starting to do talk radio back in the early 90s. I remember the election of 1992 when it was Bill Clinton running against H. Walker Bush, the incumbent. And there were Republicans that honestly said, this is the beginning of the end of our country. I remember this. I was at the Clinton inauguration doing the show from Washington, D.C. live. I wasn't at the actual inauguration, but I did my talk show live from the Mayflower Hotel in D.C. and had a lot of guests. There were Republicans who in 1992, well, 1993, by the time the inauguration came around, there were Republicans that thought, this is the end of America. Bill Clinton doesn't have enough experience to be president. He's a country boy from Arkansas. He's liberal. This is it. This is the beginning of the end. Look, we're still here. And there were people who thought Barack Obama was the beginning of the end. Guess what? We're still here. And we're going to be here after Donald Trump. Whether he wins re-election or not, at some point, Donald Trump is not going to be president. And we're going to be here afterwards. So I don't know why you're so afraid of the liberal media unless you've been brainwashed. And think about it. Do you want to admit you were brainwashed? Why are you so afraid of the liberal media? Has the liberal media changed your mind about anything? Has the conservative media changed your mind about anything? Then don't worry about it. And I know everybody's not as strong as you are. I get that. But what is it that you so fear about the conservative media or the liberal media? I think the biggest thing that we should fear is this role of victimization. Oh, what are we going to do? The conservative media is saying all these ugly things. Oh, what are we going to do? The liberal media is saying all these ugly things. Really? Comment from DJ Wick says, preach. Man, I don't like to preach. I just like to set the record straight. DJ Wick says, I remember how when 45 was elected, everything I told you has come to fruition. Yeah, DJ Wick was my producer at the time. And yeah, a lot of things have come true. Shatney says, the first time I could vote was 1992. There was panic in America when Bill Clinton won. Panic. Well, not real panic, but I mean, there were people saying the same things that people say today. This is the end. Or if Republicans are trying to convince you that if Joe Biden wins or if a Democrat wins, it's the end of America. Man, don't believe that bullshit. It's bullshit. You think we're not strong enough of a nation to survive a president that you disagree with? Hell, a lot of people disagree with Donald Trump. We're still here. It's tough. And what we're going through right now with race relations and with the pandemic, it's tough. But we're still here. And I have enough faith in America and the American people to believe that we're going to still be here. Fear tactics are used by both sides. And I'll tell you about another fear tactic that's being used. They're going to defund the police. They're going to take away the police. I don't see that happening. And I think that's a cheap fear tactic to make you so afraid that you have to vote for a Republican. Now, there's a lot that falls on Joe Biden. Joe Biden has to distance himself from the progressive left. And right now, the Trump campaign is trying to make it seem as if Joe Biden is aligned with the progressive left. And if the Bernie Sanders and the Elizabeth Warrens of the Democratic Party take over and influence, if they pull Joe Biden to the left in the same way that Republicans pulled John McCain to the right, pulled Mitt Romney to the right, pulled Bob Dole to the right. These were three moderate Republican candidates that were pulled to the right. They lost. And if the progressive left wins and pulls Joe Biden to the left, he's probably not going to win. Because the progressive left does not speak for America. There's some good ideas on both sides. But I just don't see how Biden would win if the progressive left took over. The most noise is made by the progressive left and the right, and people like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. They make the most noise. They also sometimes reveal their ignorance by doing stupid stuff that they can't even reconcile when it happens. And right now I'm looking at what's happening in Florida. And DeSantis was just so indignant. This will never happen in my state. We're opening up. This will never happen. Guess what? It happened. And you have no explanation for it. And now there are reports that you're trying to control the reporting of coronavirus cases. President Trump is taking that away from the CDC, and he's going to report that from the White House. Oh, there's no chance of the numbers being baked in favor of the administration, is there? There's no chance of that happening. They would never do that. Why do you think they're taking it away from the CDC? And the CDC may not always be totally nonpartisan, but compared to the administration, they're more nonpartisan. Here's a comment from Debbie. People are catching on. Keep sharing your nonpartisan and common sense. Thank you for doing that, Debbie. Thank you for listening. Yes, I'm a registered independent. I describe myself as a radical moderate. I'm not sucking up to the right or the left. I am so proud to not be associated with the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. I'm so proud of that. I'll vote for a Democrat. I'll vote for a Republican. In fact, if you knew my voting record, you would really, really be shocked. I don't care which side you're on. You would be really surprised. But it's my own personal decision not to reveal who I vote for. Because people who listen and people who watch will use it as a cheap shot. Oh yeah, well you voted for him. I'm not going to give you that satisfaction. You may think you figured it out, but if you go back and think about some of the things that I said about Hillary Clinton, you can't really be sure who I voted for. And it's going to stay that way. The fear of the liberal media and the conservative media are irrational. And both are out there, and both are strong, and both do prey on weak-minded people, but it's not the media's fault if people are dumb. People need to get smart. And by the way, all of those of you who are protesting and all of you who support the protesters, vote. The protests don't mean anything if you don't vote. And a lot of young people will go out and protest, but they won't take time to vote. So get out there and vote. We'll be talking about that a lot. So again, we're just building this. I hope you become a subscriber. I'm Scoot, and this is the Scoot on the Air YouTube channel. One day when this pandemic ends, we'll have a couple of microphones here, and I'll actually have guests. Yes, it will be fun. Scoot on the Air Instagram. Tomorrow night, live at 9 o'clock on Scoot on the Air Instagram. I'm sorry, yeah, Instagram. 80s night. So we'll have fun with that. And then I'm also on Facebook. And join me on WWL 870 AM, 105.3 FM, and that is some giant bug that just landed on my light. I'm gonna have to go kill it in a second. Anyway, join me. That's in New Orleans and in the Gulf South. But even if you're in the Gulf South and wherever you are, sign up for, just download the app, radio.com, and type in WWL. And I'm on the air from 1 to 4 Central Time in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. Had a call yesterday on the show from San Francisco, had a call from Kansas City, had a call from Kansas City again today, had a call from Houston today, had a text from Palm Springs, California. So I know people are everywhere. And I thank all of you for joining me. And thanks for being with me. Thanks for being with me tonight. Love you guys.